Hi, I'm Barb Mabel, PhD. I'm a gamer and an astronomer, which means that I see the universe in everything that I do. And in this series of videos, I am taking a look at the game mechanisms listed on Board Game Geek and finding places in the universe where I see them at work, either in the universe itself or in the way that we study it. Today, I wanted to talk about the mechanism of limited communication. This is a mechanism where players in a game are in some way limited in how they can communicate with each other. This might be a complete limitation, meaning that they're not supposed to indicate at all to each other what they're thinking or doing or want from each other. Or it could be limited in certain ways, just by some of the game mechanisms. One of the places that I thought about this was in Magic Maze. This is a game where players are moving pawns around a board, trying to steal things from a mall. But each player doesn't control a single pawn. They can just do certain actions with any of the pawns, like move one left or up, or move them onto an escalator. And the only way they're supposed to communicate with each other while they're taking these actions is through this red pawn. And by placing it in front of someone if there's like an action they're really hoping that player will notice on the board and do. And of course, you're supposed to just place it in front of the other person. Often there's like a urgency that ramps up as they don't notice what it is that you want them to see. And of course, that really helps them understand what you want. Another game where limited communication comes in is Mysterium. In this game, most of the players can talk to each other freely, but there is a ghost character who is trying to get everyone else to understand who killed them, how, and where. And they are only supposed to talk to the other players, or rather communicate with the other players, by giving them cards from their hand that depict these different visions in order to point that player to a certain person who might have murdered them, or place. And then indicating at a certain point in the game whether player guesses are correct or wrong. So those are a couple of places in games where there's limited communication. How about in the universe? So the place I thought about was in the speed of light. This is a way that the universe kind of limits how much information we can have about it at any given time. Light travels at 300,000 kilometers per second. That is super fast. But it is not instantaneous, and it means that any light we receive has been traveling for a while before we receive it. We see the sun as it was 8 minutes ago. Our closest neighbor star, Proxima Centauri, we see that the light from that has been traveling for 4 years before it gets to us. And the center of our galaxy, that light has been traveling for 26,000 years. Our nearest neighbor, large galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, its light travels 2.5 million years before we see it. And those galaxies that, the ones at the furthest reaches that we can see, that the JWST telescope is telling us about today, those can be more than 13 billion years of travel before we see the light from them. And so, this is a way that the universe kind of only lets us know so much about it. But it lends itself to a really cool effect where we can study the universe as it was in different eras of cosmic history. So by getting this light that's been traveling for so long, we know what the universe was like 13 billion years ago. And we can piece together what's happened over those 13 billion years by looking at things at different distances whose light has been traveling to us for different amounts of time. So the next time you're playing a game with limited communication, take just a moment to think about what the universe might look like if we could see that light in real time, if it traveled infinitely fast. I'll be continuing this walk through the board game mechanisms on Board Game Geek. So be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you know when my new videos come out. I'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite game with limited communication? Let me know in the comments, or feel free to ask me any questions about what I've talked about here in this video. Otherwise, I will see you next time, and happy gaming.